when a woman cheats on her man, when you have like clothes on his end and clothes on her end, when that woman steps outside of that pairing, first of all, it's not so much about trust. It's about genuine desire. She desires to do that. Steve Harvey's wife desired the bodyguard, desired the kitchen help, the chef, right? So there has to be some sort of appeal to want to say, you know what, I'm gonna get with this motherfucker because he's too much of a beta. He's too much of a chump. I don't care that he pays for everything. I don't care that he's richer than God. I need some dick. There's your clip, by the way. But that's essentially what she's thinking at that time. And when that happens, once that step has been made, as I said before, 5 minutes of alpha trumps 5 years of beta per hour. So you've been 10 minutes with the alpha. That's 10 years of beta. Just that's how the logic, the bonehead red pill logic works. Okay, is 5 minutes of alpha equals 5 years of beta. So how long did she spend with Tupac before she got married to Will Smith? I mean, of course, Tupac got killed, but how long was that before she decided to get married to Will Smith? And was he playing savior? And did he want to lift her out of her bad, situation or something? Was he playing savior? Most likely he was. In fact, I think for sure he was, because judging from the interview with Oprah Winfrey, he is just a diehard when it comes to like romances. He's very romantic. I mean, dangerously so. Like dangerous in the way that Anthony Bourdain was dangerously romantic. He is what I would have he's what I would term as a terminal beta, a terminally blue pill. Maybe that's a better term. So, anyways, once that woman has that alpha experience, that's when that fixation is created in her. So Tupac that's the benchmark for Jada. And you want to know why you see all these little, it's the ick factor. She has ick factor with Will Smith as early as their first year of marriage, because that's what she's, and again, it's not her deliberately going, it's the subconscious that winces, that it's instinctual. If I were to throw something at you, you would get out of the way. Or if you see a dead carcass of an animal or something like that, and you smell it, you want to get away. It's like that revulsion response, or feces, or anything that would make us like vomit. Like if somebody like throws up, you have this instinct to throw up as well. That's a human revulsion response. Now, those are like, that's easy to understand because we go, who wants to be around that? Well, the reason for getting away from those types of things is because they usually meant pathogens. They usually meant that a dead corpse is like a necrotic or whatever. And so you've got pathogens that I don't want to die, so I'm going to get the hell away from this dead. That's why we bury our dead. That's why we burn our dead. Right? It's pathogen control essentially is what it is. Right? Same thing with getting away from feces. Same thing with getting away from like when somebody vomits. The reason why you feel like you have to vomit after somebody else does it, you smell like, I gotta puke too. Even though you don't feel queasy, you will when you see somebody else do that. It's because there's this I want to say it's a reflexive response, because if somebody's throwing up and maybe you ate the same thing that they did and now they're throwing up, that you should probably do it too, because you need to get the poison or the pathogens out of your body. That's, again, this is bonehead Evo Psych Rollo talking here, but that's the principle behind it. Now, there are more subtle ways of revulsion, and I should go dig those up. I've got studies and stats that prove that women have more sexual revulsion than men do. I think that's probably fairly obvious. Women are, because of the reproductive costs, they have a higher, hesitancy to get with guys who they don't necessarily want to have babies with. Even when those guys are the pinnacle, at least in affluence, and when it comes to money and fame or affluence status, whatever it is, they still, because there's something in their brain that says this guy is not the best I can do. That's the hypergamous filter. And that's what you see in Will Smith with Jada Pinkett Smith as far back as 1997. So it's that sexual revulsion, even though she's with a guy who is, unparalleled high value man, especially in 97, right? When did he do Independence Day? Was like early 90s, I think. And he had other, I mean, it's not like that's the only thing he ever did, but I mean, I think we kind of like, I do anyways. When I think of Will Smith, I think of that, or I think of Bad Boys, or I think of Men in Black, you know. His sci-fi stuff is funnier stuff, you know. But I mean, he's a fantastic actor, you know, like when he did Ali and the rest of that stuff was really great. But doesn't matter because the ick factor is there. How do women get to that ick factor? And I've been actually polling women on Access Vegas about like, what is it about guys that sort of gives you like, what's the cue? What's the prompt? What's the dead giveaway? That's, you know, I was so into this guy, and then he like picked his teeth or some shit like that, and and then I broke up with the guy, even though he looks like Jason Momoa. I was like, I can't tell you he picks his teeth, which I think is bullshit. But there's still that sexual revulsion. I mean, women have a higher threshold, or I should say lower threshold for sexual revulsion than men do, because men are opportunistic breeders. Let's just be honest. But when you see that wincing, you see that body language, and you see that, you know, that kind of stuff, it's because she's been with a guy who is the apex alpha, who is the guy that she could have gotten with, but now he's gone, right? So she's pining for this guy, and again, it's the one that got away, and in this case, she is literally an alpha widow, meaning that Tupac was her, and even you could say Tupac was an alpha. He wasn't. I don't care. In Jada Pinkett Smith, her brain, her female brain, he was. That's all that matters. He was the archetype for as good as she could do, and will sure the fucking Tupac, right? Up to this day, and she's still doing interviews talking about how the impact that Tupac left on her, and she will be. It's just like the end of Titanic, right? When Jada Pinkett Smith gets to be 100 years old, and I hope you live a long life, Jada, she's going to be Rose with the heart of the sea, the diamond that she's going to leave. She's going to drop it into the ocean, and she's going to see all this big sweeping shot of all of the shit that she's done, courtesy of Will Smith, and all this wonderful life, and her kids and her grandkids and everything else. And you know what? The moment before she dies, she's going to take that heart of the sea, that diamond, and she's going to drop it. And you know who's down at the bottom of the sea? Tupac Shakur. That's who's down there. That's who she's dropping the diamond for. Not Will Smith, Tupac, down at the bottom of the ocean in the ballroom of the Titanic. That's where her heart is, and that's where the diamond slips down into at the end of the movie. Thank you. Good night. Oscar award-winning movie. The end. Vaya con Dios. Am I wrong? Am I wrong about that? I don't think I am, because that's the archetype. 5 minutes of alpha trumps 5 gears of beta. Tupac was the alpha. Also, and last but not least, Soralita, here's the last. I'm going to tag this on there. Once your woman has cheated with a guy who is that apex alpha, that high value guy, anytime she has sex with her husband or has sex with the boyfriend that she's been cheating on, feels like cheating on the other motherfucker. It feels like cheating on the guy who is the best she can do. So when she has to come home and fake it, and she has to be like, I'm really sorry, I got a headache, whatever, you know, whatever she's, that sexual revulsion is now for the husband. It's now for the boyfriend, because the one she should be with, and what they'll do is they'll mythologize this. Oh, you know, it was my heart will go on, right? I wanted to be with the one that got away, but now, you know, Johnny died at Dead Man's Curve, and I'll never forget him, and I'll go and bring a rose to his grave every time on the anniversary of his death. Oh, but I still love you, honey, and I know we have like 4 kids together and a golden retriever in the front yard and a nice station wagon or SUV or whatever, and you're giving me this wonderful, awesome ass life. But I still miss Johnny, who died at Dead Man's Curve when I was, you know, in college or whatever. So when a woman fixates on that guy, that alpha, she's just basically, I mean, let's be honest, she's an alpha widow. Jada Pinkett Smith is an alpha widow of Tupac. Simple as that. And it has catastrophically ruined the life of Will Smith. Now, here's the great thing about this. If you want a silver lining to all of this, and by the way, guys, if you're in a situation, I think that here's the actionable information of all this. If you're in a situation where your wife or your girlfriend has cheated on you and she can't seem to get over that guy that she's cheating on, it's because it feels like having sex with you and trying to make things up with you feels like faking it. It feels like an act. It feels like that wincing, because her instinctual psychology, her we call it subconscious, really an instinct, you know. That throw something at you and you dodge out of the way, that's instinct. So that instinctual desire, that flinch reflex to get away from you, that's there because, first of all, she has no desire for you. And second of all, it's there because there's some other guy who she's changed her sports team for. She started listening to Swedish death metal instead of country music, who she's trying to align herself with. Suddenly she wants to go to the gym more. She wants to listen to this kind of music. She likes the Raiders instead of the Niners. How dare you? Wait, not there.
How dare you?
She loves the Raiders instead of the Niners. When women start having like strange interests, it's usually because there's a guy that has those interests and she feels like she needs to align with them. That's the time you need to either like check the fuck out or check the fuck out, basically, because at that point the desire is gone. Again, infidelity especially for women, is based on desire. It has nothing to do with fucking mate switching. It has nothing to do with trading up to a bigger and better deal. Okay, especially in the situation. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying in situations where the bigger and better deal is who she's married to, you have no other recourse but to say the reason she's fucking these guys is because she wants to fuck. She wants a guy with a bigger dick. She wants a guy who's in better shape. She wants a guy who's younger. She doesn't want Will Smith. She wants August Alsina. Which one of those guys, let's say, objectively speaking, has more fame, money, affluence, status? Which one? August? Who's a good-looking kid, don't get me wrong. And probably has some status, but he ain't no Will Smith status. People will remember Will Smith's name long after he's dead. They might not even remember Jada after that, right? Or maybe they will, because she will end up being the downfall of Will Smith. Now, before you go and say, well, he should have picked better, get the fuck out of here. How is he going to pick better when all this stuff took this long to develop into it? He should have been able to vet. Well, you know what? Hindsight's 2020, and we are all fucking geniuses when we look back over this thing. The fact of the matter is, here's the one fatal flaw for Will Smith. He's a blue pill. He's blue pill. He's always been blue pill. He's always been romanticized. I told you, man, men are the romantics pretending to be pragmatists. Women are the pragmatists pretending to be romantics. That's the nature of the machine. Always has been, always will be. The burden of performance is on men, and as a part of that, men have to, they certainly feel like it, but they have the burden of romance is not on women. They're supposed to be the ones on the receiving end of romance, not the ones delivering it. They just got to show up naked and bring beer. I mean, at least today, by today's standards, they do. Women don't know anything about seduction today. Are you fucking kidding me? They don't need to seduce men. God, in fact, they would feel like icky and dirty for doing so because they're supposed to feel empowered. Beauty is empowering, right? I saw an ad about that. They don't have to, like, men are the onus of romance is always on guys. And so as a result of that, you know, guys buy into this bullshit. And I will tell you right now, as I said back in 2020, and I will say now in 2023, and now that all this has come to light, Will Smith is a blue pill chump. You say, well, how can you say that? He's alpha. He's got all this money. He's got it. No. Money doesn't make you alpha. It might be a result of you being alpha, but that's not the actual cause of you being alpha. Right? He's well liked. He has high status. Yeah. There's a lot of beta schmucks who have a lot of status. I don't want to use Jeff Bezos as an example. I guess I could use maybe Bill Gates or somebody like that. They got money, definitely have status. Elon Musk, he's not the best looking dude in the world. He's funny enough, I guess. He's personal. I think of all of those guys, I probably would want to hang out with Elon. But let's be honest. Take away the money, take away the status. Are they getting laid? Probably not. You want to know what Elon Musk's biggest problem is? He's beta. He buys into the same horse shit that Will Smith does. Maybe he's a little wiser now after the whole Grimes thing. Maybe he knows what he's doing a little bit more these days. But he's equally as much a blue pill alpha as anybody else. You can still, see, I think a lot of people think that when I say red pill, it's synonymous with alpha. No. Those are mutually exclusive terms, my friends. You can be blue pill and be alpha. You can be blue pill and be a chump beta. Most guys are. But it's entirely possible for you to be a blue pill alpha. It is entirely possible also for you to be a red pill beta. Just ask any black pill doomer. Ask any MGTOW on the more extreme end of the MGTOW spectrum. Oh, there goes Rolo again. I mean, those two are not, red pill, blue pill is not mutually exclusive from whatever your concept of alpha and beta are. Well, wouldn't that mean that you're red pill if you're alpha? No, there's plenty of naturals who you hate their guts. And they know nothing about game. They know nothing about the red pill. They know nothing about women's natures or their own natures for that matter, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Those are the himbos, right? That's what do you got here? Hold on.